90 minutes more. Inter Milan. I mean, they're good guys, but their definitely rubbish.
Hello, and welcome to Football Night. In this video, we'll be looking at one of the most iconic rivals, the Milan Derby, or the Derby Della Madonnina in Italy. An exciting game between two of the Italian giants, AC Milan and Inter Milan. This rivalry takes us back from over 100 years ago. AC Milan was founded by Herbert Kilpin, who was born in Nottingham in England. He moved to Italy in order to work for an Italian Swiss. However, Kilpin adored football, so in December 1899, Herbert Kilpin founded a club called Associazione Calcio Milan, commonly referred to as AC Milan. In 1908, AC Milan had an internal disagreements because they didn't want to sign any foreign players, and it caused players to split. Those who agree with it stayed, and those who disagreed left, which led to the forming of another Milan-based team called FC Internazionale Milano, commonly referred to as Inter Milan. The new club was formed by the players that left AC Milan. The name of the club derives from the wish of its founding members to accept foreign players as well as Italians, and from then, Derby Della Madonnina was born. In 18th of October that same year, the first derby match between the two Milanese rivals was held in the final of the Chiasso Cup. The tournament was played in Canton Ticino in Switzerland, and AC Milan won 2-1. Inter Milan and AC Milan faced each other sporadically in the early years. The rivalry has been renewed annually since the inaugural 1926-27 season of the Divisione Nazionale, the first national Italian league. The two teams have played each other twice a year since then. In the 1960s, the Milan derby saw two big stars of Italian football come face to face. One of the most representative players of Inter was Sandro Mazzola, the son of former Torino player Valentino Mazzola, who, along with most of his Torino teammates, sadly died in the 1949 Superga air disaster after dominating Serie A for 4 seasons. His Milan counterpart was Gianni Rivera, nicknamed Golden Boy for his talent. This era saw brilliant derby and an increasing rivalry. Milan won the European Cup in 1962-63. Inter followed with back-to-back successful period for both teams. Milan were coached by Nereo Rocco and Inter by Helenio Herrera. The rivalry between the two teams even continued on the Italy national team, where two players from their respective clubs would often not play together, with one usually being substituted by the other at half-time. The Golden Boy, Gianni Rivera, ended up losing the starting lineup to Mazzola in the 1970 final against Brazil, in which Italy lost 4-1. The best years of AC Milan came during the late 1980s and extended thorough to the mid-2000s. Often hailed as the greatest ever Milan side, the team stemming from the 1989 European champions managed by Arrigo Sacchi contained legendary Milan player Marco van Basten, Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard and Paolo Maldini. Milan's dominance had seen them capture 4 league titles and 3 European Cup between 1989 and 1996. During this time, Inter had gone on to finish runners-up in the 1992-93 season and won 2 UEFA Cups. The two respected clubs would met in the 2002-03 UEFA Champions League, their first ever European matches against one another, and Milan managed a win by the away goal rule. Milan would go on to win the UEFA Champions League that season. They met again in the quarter-finals of the 2004-05 UEFA Champions League. Milan triumphed on aggregate after UEFA awarded them a 3-0 victory in the second leg, as the match was abandoned due to flares thrown by Inter fans. Inter's long wait for a league title that began after 1989 finally arrived in 2006, when the Calciopoli scandal stripped Juventus of the 2005-06 title, as well as deducting points for AC Milan's final overall total, and handed it to Inter Milan, who, by the way, finished third behind both Juventus and Milan. For those who don't know, Calciopoli scandal was a sports scandal in Serie A, and to lesser extent Serie B, involving various clubs and numerous executives, both from the same clubs and from the main Italian football bodies, as well as some referees and referees' assistants. So a lot of people seen as a controversial decision for Inter to be named as champions. Many people were pushing it to be left unawarded. but it never happened. Inter went on to win the 2006-07 Serie A title as well, in a season that saw Juventus relegated from the top division, and Milan, as punishment, starting the season with negative points. Inter's triumphant campaign included a record-breaking run of 17 consecutive victories and victories in both fixtures against Milan. During the same season, however, Milan had captured their 7th UEFA Champions League, defeating Liverpool in the final in Athens. As the Italian league recovered from the aftermath of the match-fixing scandal, Inter continued to dominate, winning each league up until the 2009-10 season, in which they secured the title on the last day of the season. That season had also seen Inter become the first Italian side to win a treble. In addition to their league title, Inter also secured the Coppa Italia and their first Champions League title since 1965. The following season, however, Milan, with the acquisition of several players that included former Inter striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic, recaptured the Scudetto, their 18th overall, leading the league standings from as early as November until the end of the season. That season also saw Milan win both derby matches, keeping clean sheets in both fixtures. Between 2011-12 and 2019-20, both Milan teams lagged behind Juventus in Serie A, with a disappointing 9th place finish for Inter in 2012-13, and a difficult campaign for Milan in 2014-15, finishing 10th. However, Inter ended Juventus' 9-year streak by winning their 19th title in 2020-21, overtaking Milan's total. Milan tied Inter's total by winning their own 19th title in the following season. The two clubs met once again in the semi-finals of the 2022-23 UEFA Champions League. The tie was their first European derby in 18 years, as well as being both clubs' first appearances in the semi-finals since winning the trophy in 2007 and 2010 respectively. Inter won the tie, defeating Milan 2-0 in the first leg and 1-0 in the second, reaching the final. In 2023-24, Inter defeated Milan 2-1 as the designated away side on the 22nd of April 2024. The result confirmed they had won their 20th league title, marking the first time the Scudetto had been decided in a derby Della Madonnina. The title put Inter one clear of Milan's 19 titles and ensured a second star on the club's badge. The game was also Inter's 6th successive win over Milan, the joint longest winning streak of either side the derby's history. The two respected clubs met 240 times, Inter won 91 times, they drew 69 times, and Milan won 80 times. AC Milan's Andriy Shevchenko is the top scorer of the Milan derby with 14 goals. AC Milan's Paolo Maldini holds the record of the most appearances of the Milan derby with 56 appearances. And that's it about the iconic Milan derby. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. Cheers!